That's it. Let's myth bust the diesel.
Oh my golly gosh, look at all this diesel junk and diesel mess.
Hey crew, I've been inspired to give you some information. Let's have a bit of a talk about whether you should have chosen a diesel or a petrol, and let's myth bust the diesel. The old, everybody seems to think diesel's complicated, it's a specialist. Look, you know, some of these jobs are a specialist area, you could say, and that's because work actually gets done. But on the other hand, you could say petrol's even more complicated. So let's myth bust the petrol versus diesel and why are diesels so hard to work on. We've got looking in our comments and questions on our Facebook pages and text to the phone, which shouldn't be coming to the phone, that sort of thing. The phone, quick reminder, the phone is for parts purchases, information, parts purchases, and to communicate to book into the Prado Hospital. All other questions should be put on our Facebook pages and Facebook groups. That's what they're there for. If you keep watching videos, eventually throughout videos you'll see a page that shows most of our Facebook and pages and groups that are relevant to the 4x4 diesel automotive side of things channel. Of course, we've got the other channel if you want more information, more on the touring side, vehicle use, operation, driver training, tracks, trips, scenery. That's 4x4 Touring Australia. So diesels, what's so hard about it? You know, people in the comments are going, oh, you know, I'm a mechanic, or I've been this or I've been that, but you know, I'm just not sure about, you know, when it comes to working on these diesels, you know what I mean? Now, I completely understand, and I was like that at one point in time. Also, I remember when I was a first, second year apprentice, that sort of thing, in a Ford dealership. So it wasn't the GQ Patrol, but it was the Ford Maverick. So I don't ever remember the engine, whatever they were called. You can put it in the comments. What were those engines called? Was it a 4.2 litre diesel, 6-cylinder? We had to take the valve cover in and go and check and adjust the tappets. You know what I mean? All this sort of thing. You know, so old school stuff. But most engines aren't really adjusted like that anymore. Things change over time, and I've got to tell you, diesels are even easier to work on than petrols, guys. Even easier. And I'll tell you why. And it's pretty simple. Think about it. A petrol, there's two systems to make the fuel burn. One is the fuel system, which has got to be right and usually stays pretty consistent on a petrol engine. Other than, I suppose, if you don't drive it regularly, that's not good. If you do a lot of short trips, and we'll just quickly look, we'll talk about petrols more in another video. Is probably a better thing to do. We're going to talk more about diesels and why they're easy to work on, and all you've got to do is this, this, and this. It's so simple. So on the petrol, you've got the fuel side. We just mentioned that. So you've got fuel. So you've got fuel pumps, fuel pressure, lots of sensors and stuff like that, and your injectors that generally, if they're used regularly, and you put a petrol is worth putting. Okay, so this is where people say, what about additives? What about additives? It's not an additive video either. There's so much information, guys. That's why you just got to keep watching all the videos. And on a petrol, it's worth using additives. And this is why, because petrol is the product. The petrol is the one that's dirty and that gums everything up, you know, in your fuel tank, in your fuel system, in your engine oil. How in your engine oil? Because a certain amount of combustion, what's in the combustion, that product blows past the rings into the oil, okay? So it's not one's better than the other. It's absolutely each to their own. Now, for all the people that want to say, oh, I'm glad I got the V6, that's awesome. The V6 is an awesome engine. It's probably just a fair bit older technology than what the diesel is. And of course, the diesels are getting newer. Where's the new petrol engines? You can't even get one in a Prado. We want one. I'm with you. I want to see what petrol they should be able to come out with a really efficient engine. But so petrol's got the fuel system and all the associated problems, and you do have problems and simple things like cleaning throttle bodies and other sensors and filters, very similar to the way we do with the diesel to keep it running right. But you've also got an ignition system, okay? So spark plug, pretty simple these days. It used to be the coil, then you had coil leads, distributors, caps, points, all sorts of things you used to wear and go to whack and problems and whatever, because there were so many moving components between that original spark generation at the coil, then it had to get transferred through so many different working parts, places, and wires, if you like. So that was problematic. Now, this is, I suppose, so if you think that was pretty, oh, you understand that, so you're old school mechanic, oh, we used to I used to be a mechanic or a mechanic by trade, but now I drive trucks or whatever it is. Heaps of people got out of the trade because it pays crap, and you know, you can do much easier jobs where you don't have to think and get paid a little bit or a lot more money, twice as much or more, quite easily. I know heaps of people that have left the industry. Why am I still here? I don't know. That's a good question, but maybe we're a bit different. And it's good to help you guys. So obviously I think I'm going to have to stick around now because this is working. I enjoy helping people. I hope you guys like it. And if you are, please remember to give us the like button on every video, even if you didn't like it. And don't worry, a few comments on the haters. Don't worry about the haters. There's one guy, right? Now, there's lots of people with the name John, so we're not going to name anyone, but let's just call it John. There's little John. He is addicted. He is the absolute height of jealousy and hate. This hatred is eating him away. But he sits there and watches every video, and the sound of my voice must just, you know, it just brings that jealousy up. Mate, just leave it alone. Walk away and don't listen to it. Anyway, for the people that are worried about the thumbs down, the one thumbs down that happens before as soon as the video is released, you know, the first thing he does, he gives it the thumbs down. Quite, you know, these people have got problems. We try to help them, but, you know, you get that. Anyway, thumbs up, guys. Subscribe, turn the bell on. Now, so with a diesel, you don't have any of these problems because for a start, you haven't your ignition system and your fuel system is one together, okay? It makes it so simple. Just think, it's the same engine, right? There's some varying different things, not much. We're not going to get too technical. We're just going to bring it back to basics for all the people that are going, oh, you know, but I don't know about these diesels, whatever, okay? By the end of this video, hopefully you just go, wow, I get it now. I get it. You know, do you get it yet? Hopefully you get it. Basically, you've got the same engine. Let's say in front of us, we've got a 4-cylinder engine. Let's go back. There was a 4-cylinder. What did everybody work on a 4-cylinder engine 20, 30 years ago? All these people that are mechanics. I don't know, what's the most popular? Let's go Ford. Let's go. There was a lot of Ford lasers around, wasn't there? Ford laser, Mazda 323. There you go. Covers Mazda and Ford together. One of the most popular little 4-cylinders, right? Basically the same thing. This one's a bit bigger than what that one was. You know, the car's a lot bigger. The engine's a bit bigger. But instead of having fuel going in and everything's got to be right, spark, everything's got to be right. And like I said, ignition systems on petrols have changed. You know, they've got rid of coils and distributors. They've got, you know, they had, you know, coil per cylinder, and now they even got rid of leads, so the coil is direct on top of the spark plug. For hopefully people, you know, I'm simple enough that even people that aren't mechanics or don't understand that well get it, but you've got a spark plug, but the coil, the thing that generates the spark because it needs to increase the voltage, bang, it's right there on top of it, right? And it's just plugged in. It's so simple. So the only thing that can really go wrong is a spark plug and a coil. Now, if you've been around in the last 10 to 20 years and you know that, then you should know that diesels are bloody still even more simpler because I already said it. There's only one system. There's no spark. So you don't have to rely on the engine takes care of that, right? The heated compression is what ignites the fuel. The engine takes care of that. These engines right here are awesome. Most of the Toyota engines, you know, I'll just say generally, are awesome. They just start. You turn the key, they just start, okay? It's a common rail diesel. The precision is awesome. And that's why you've just got to think it through. You know, I got the V6. Well, hang on a minute. So it's a big 4 litre. So it's not going to crack pistons because it's a big 4 litre. And it only puts out about 350 newton meters of torque. This is a 4-cylinder and it puts out over 400. Now the 2.75cc are putting out nearly 500, okay? It's just ridiculous, okay? Trying to pull that much power out of an engine, torque, power and torque equals force on the piston, okay? So once you understand it, I wish I could just plug you guys in so you just, boom, understood things the way I do. I know just got to get better at trying to explain it, but there's nothing to be scared about with the diesels because at the end of the day, you've only got a fuel system, okay? So you've only got a fuel injector there. Yeah, it's bigger. So what? It's got more moving parts in it. So what? The general thing is you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to work on it. You don't have to pull it apart. You don't have to rebuild it. You just got to change it every 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Same as you probably should petrol injectors, although because it's a petrol engine and the way it all works. And look, we used to rebuild petrol injectors, okay? So we had the machine there. We stripped down the petrol injectors, put them through the machine, ultrasonic cleaning. We do a spray test that'd measure the flow in each one, and you could see the spray pattern, all this sort of thing. Yep, that's no good. Then you'd strip all the parts off them, all the seals and caps and that, give them a good clean or ultrasonic clean. It was all part of the machine. What was the brand of it? Was that Petroject or something like that? Anyway, expensive machine, mate. We're only an EFI specialist. We're one of the only people that had them. Okay, so we used to do the injector cleaning, and the biggest problem was cars running on gas. Remember what I said at the start of the video? If you run it regularly, the best thing you can do for any engine is run it regularly. Don't park it up. Don't think you've got your petrol or your diesel and you park it up just for trips. Run the bloody thing regularly, twice a week if you can, and don't just run it to go, well, I'll just take it down the milk bar 2Ks, right? Make a point of taking it to work or the day you've got to go to work when you've got the longer trips and give it a bloody good run, at least twice a week if you can. Obviously, the more the merrier, the more Ks the merrier. Doesn't matter how many Ks you do, if you do the maintenance on the vehicle, oil, coolant, spark plugs, air filters, injectors, whatever it may be. Okay, so diesels. Simple. Do you get it yet? It's just an engine. There's no ignition system. It's part of the fuel system. It's really part of the engine. It's not even part of the fuel system. The fuel's got to be delivered at the right time, but it is. These things run awesome for ages. The only reason they ever start running not well is because everything's long overdue, the wearing parts. Putting additives in a diesel, generally it may clean the combustion a little bit, stuff like that. It's not going to do anything with the injectors. It's metal wear. You can't undo metal wear. You can't put metal back. It's not dirty in the injector. It's clean. There's fuel running. It's clean fuel. It's not like the petrols that all the gum builds up on all sorts of components, right? In the fuel tank, on your fuel senders. People with the petrol model, they have a lot of problem with fuel readings not being right? We don't talk about it much because we don't see many V6s. We're going to try and do more V6 and petrol videos. We'll even do some other vehicles. So if you're waiting for something on other makes and models, it's going to happen. So subscribe now, turn the bell on. It'll come eventually. But as I keep saying, all this information, it relates to most vehicles anyway. So do you get it yet? How simple the diesel is? It's just an injector, right? With all your sensors being clean and right, that's your air filter, your MAF sensor, your MAP filter, because they can block up, that sort of thing. When they're cracked, it doesn't really change the reading too much. I'm not too worried about that. It's the fact that the thing's soaked and caked in soot. But once you do that EGR mod everyone's doing, the plate with the 7mm hole, reduces the soot, the filter stays a lot cleaner, and therefore you get the correct readings to the MAP sensor, manifold absolute pressure. So all your sensors and basics and filters need to be right to keep the vehicle running in peak condition. It's as simple as that, guys. There's nothing hard about diesels. You've got an injector, you've got a fuel line. The fuel lines either go directly to the pump or in a common rail system, they go to the common rail, which is just a word. It's exactly that. It's a rail that all the injectors commonly go back to, and there's one fuel line from the supply pump to the common rail. Okay, there's some sensors and pressure relief valves. Again, if you're dealing with Toyotas, all that stuff's super reliable. I mean, 99.9+% of the time, you're not going to have any problems with anything. That's why we choose Toyotas, because we like to work on good vehicles that don't have problems, because we're busy, right? Always been busy. We've got rid of the cars that keep us busy, the cars that just give you problems and headaches over and over. I don't want to work on those cars. We've got a choice. We can work on whatever we want, Now, I'm not saying, Hondas are rubbish or anything like that, but we've narrowed it down to the best. And I suppose it's an interest as well, the four-wheel drive Touring Australia thing. So four-wheel drive is a choice, and Toyota, definitely the most reliable. So I hope that helps everybody understand diesels, and we sort of myth busted a bit how simple it is. And that recommendation, again, it's a ballpark recommendation on any vehicle, particularly the 1KD FTV. Once you understand it, you can sort of make your own decision if you need to replace seats under injectors on any other particular make or model type of vehicle. If you need to replace the injectors, I mean, they're all wear and tear items. We said it, it's metal wear and tear. Okay, so the nozzles wear, so they're not going to sit, they're not going to work correctly. There's other internal parts depending what engine, what injector, what the wear is and how bad it is, and if they're working right. You can't always tell from diagnostics. Don't rely on that. Look at diagnostics. Okay, so simple stuff, guys. It's really easy. Instead of taking all these other components off of petrol, it's quite simple. There's a lot of components, don't get me wrong, sensors and things like that, but all those are generally, everything's okay. You don't have to work on that. It's easy to understand. The injector controls the whole of how well the engine runs if your basics are right. Okay, so if your air filter's clean, your MAF sensor's clean, your MAP filter's good, if everything's good, and the engine's going to be good because it's Toyota, it's solid, you've done your oil changes and all that maintenance, preventative maintenance. If that's all good and something's not running right, as I've said before, you've got fuel pressure. Okay, suction control valve is exactly what controls your fuel pressure. We've been telling you for years and years, those short suction control valves are rubbish. The long ones you won't have a problem with, so if you've got a 150 Prado, you don't need one. But if you're obviously, like anything, 99.9999, okay, but every now and then you might have a problem. We haven't seen a problem with the long suction control valves in our lives, okay? But there is some people that have replaced them that have said, oh, I made a bit of improvement, I'm glad I did it, made it a little bit more. So if you want to throw some money at it, you can do that. But personally, I wouldn't. It could be just, sometimes, it's just that factor where, you got new tyres or you got an oil change and you're just sort of in your head, sort of like you think it is, but it's maybe not. I think it might be a bit of that. Anyway, that's it, guys. Diesels are simple, okay? They're simple. You do need to keep them clean. These common rail systems, same as petrols. Petrols, you put water in a petrol fuel, go on, put some water in the fuel tank and see what happens, Exactly, right? So it's a fuel system that it's really precise and it needs to be working accurately. As I sort of pointed out in other videos, these little 4-cylinder engines, that's what they are. They're 4 cylinders in big 4-wheel drives, and they're making a lot of power, a lot of torque for the size of the engine, which is already telling you it's already maxed out from how they come out from factory. So anything with extra power is putting more force on the piston, okay? As soon as the injectors are worn and flogged, they're not working right, over-fueling, more force on the piston, okay? And if you've got fuel contamination, can damage the injectors quickly or jam certain working parts, and you won't necessarily know about it or hear it, okay? So if you've got injectors that are more than 7 years old, start watching videos to work out whether you need to change them or not. You may get a little bit more out of them. It's a bonus if the fuel system hasn't been open and hasn't been touched. If you were listening to me in 2015, I was back then talking and writing back then in 2015, and I said, don't go to the next engine yet. Stick with the 1KD FTV, last of the best until something better comes out. We'll let you know when that is. It's still the same information. So if you got a 2015, awesome. If you were listening and don't take it in at the 40,000, tell them don't touch the fuel pipes. Don't mess with the valve clearances. They'll be fine. Don't, because it's risk of contamination. All the problems associated are caused by people doing things they shouldn't or doing things in ways they shouldn't, okay? It is a precision fuel system. That's where the problem lies, okay? That's where it's a specialist area. Someone needs to know how to be clean. See this engine, mate? Clean. See these hands? Clean. Like a hospital. That's why it's called the Prado Hospital. Anyway, guys, I've gone on long enough. The idea was to myth bust diesels, and I hope that helps any of the technicians, mechanics and stuff like that understand it is quite simple. Don't be scared of diesels, okay? It's very simple, okay? I was like that once as well, where I thought, oh, diesels, because there is a, he's a diesel fitter, he's a diesel, and diesel. Right? When you do a mechanical automotive apprenticeship, it covers diesel. And like I was like, okay, so this diesel thing, diesels, it's all a bit of a, but if you actually learn how it works, it's actually really simple, and it's got even simpler because, like everything else on the petrol engine, the coil direct per spark plug makes it really simple and reliable. Well, the common rail injector does that as well. Okay, it just works really well. The problem is when it's left in there too long, and fuel contamination. So keep it clean. I'm out of here. Please remember to give us the thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, turn the bell on. We've got more videos lined up coming your way. And we've got another engine to do. Get this. May have done a video on it, I don't know, 6 months ago, late last year. I can't remember when it was. Bloke with a remap, of course. Cracked piston at 180 odd thousand Ks. It started off, he wanted the cheapest way out, cheapest, we'll just fix it up and get rid of it. So we said, okay, well, if that's what you want, we can do whatever you want. This is going to change though. It's a bit of a regret now for the client and ourselves. Everything's good, but you got to understand, you take the shortcut, you risk the problem. So the shortest cut was, we had another engine with even lower Ks, 100,000 Ks. So that had one cracked piston because, of course, it had a chip as well. See, this, it's not just it's just what we see, guys. So there's 100,000 K with a chip. with a cracked piston, and that was a late 14 that had 110 pistons, and the pistons do keep getting better and better. I'm going on about it, mate, but it's all information, okay? The pistons get better, but you can't make the piston indestructible. It's not the cause of the problem. It's not the problem. You can't just, you can't make a hail-proof house out of cobwebs. I don't know. Do you get it? You just can't keep making something stronger that it's indestructible. Otherwise, that would happen, because these have been around for 15 years. I think they still run them. You can get them new in some other countries. I'm not sure about that, but there was a post 2017-18 talking about a cracked piston and the problems were supposed to be fixed, and there's even a 130 piston. But anyway, so it went on, and I can go on. But the point is, what was the point? It's all good information, but so we put the 100,000k engine in with a new piston, and guess what's happened? It's cracked another piston in that engine because he wanted to keep the remap. It's done about, I don't know, 10 or so thousand k's. Boom, next piston, next. So what's going to happen this time? Of course, so what happened last time was I just want to fix up the cheapest way, but then it started looking too good and did this and that, and it was really nice, and he got it back and it was beautiful, and we road tested it. You can see that in another video. If you watch all the videos, important to subscribe and have the bell on, and everybody's happy. And then boom, it's on a tow truck again with another cracked piston. So this time another engine will be going back in with 4 new pistons. The only reason we're doing it is because that engine, all the optional stuff, I think like globe plugs, timing belts, injectors, pipes, all that sort of stuff got replaced. So everything's done. It's literally going to be just 4 pistons, and obviously head gaskets and bolts and a few other bits and pieces like that, the things you have to change. And we're going to get that in there, and going to get rid of it this time. So he's going to get rid of it apparently, and he's going to apparently get rid of the remap, but we'll see about that. Anyway, guys, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But if I can make you do something, please, thumbs up. We've got heaps more awesome information coming your way. 1 video a day. Sorry this one's a bit longer. Quick reminder, if you need parts, Monday the 22nd of March is the day. Please don't contact me any other days if it's avoidable. If you miss Monday, Tuesday morning if you have to, otherwise wait till the next week or the next date. And the next date that's a possibility, I don't know, sometime in April. Was it about the 19th or something like that? I'm trying to remember. You'd have to check another video or check our Australian Facebook pages, the Prado Hospital and Prado Hilux 1KD FTV injectors. And let me get you those pages, because I said I'd do that. Haven't done that for a while. I'll just grab this sheet out here for the people that hung around. Let's start at the bottom, right? There's your YouTube channels you want to be on if you want to get yourself educated. That is, you can watch all these full drive TV, adventure, this and that channels, but if you want to see stuff that you can really do without wrecking your vehicle, some tracks you can go down, some trips you can follow, some nice places, that's that bottom channel there, including some vehicle information, everything to do with touring, right? Now, down here, right, Facebook stuff, right? There's the phone number, right? See what it says, text only? It doesn't ring. There's no point trying to ring. It doesn't ring. You're just going to get a long voicemail telling you to send a text message. You need to include your name. Please, name, full name. I've got lots of Johns. I said that earlier in the video. Lots of Steves and all that. So surname, please. If you're planning on purchasing parts, you'll get stored in the phone. We treat you like a person, not a number. See, I don't use Messenger, so don't friend me on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, press friend so you can follow the info. I apologise in advance if I go off on something like why are interest rates staying low, while normally they put interest rates up a bit to stop inflation, but at the moment we've got real estate across Australia, car prices both new and used, which are the 2 biggest price things, and everything else going up like crazy because the value of the dollar is reduced. So why interest rates staying down? This is going to get bad, guys. But anyway, apologise in advance if I start talking about stuff like that. I'll do it every now and then. There's those 2 pages at the top, Facebook pages, the Prado Hospital. That'll tell you when we're open and closed and what's happening if you want to get your vehicle into the Prado Hospital. You won't get into the Prado Hospital till at least May, so hold off until at least the start of May. I think the 10th of May is when I can guarantee I'll be back on deck and can fit more vehicles in. So that's the time to contact me if you want to try and get in the Prado Hospital. Prado Hilux 1KD FTV injectors is it's more the injector kits and the part side of the business information. Like I said, March 22nd, Monday, from 8 AM Melbourne time, text messages. Try and get it done in the morning if you can. And if we receive your payment, we'll get the kits packed and sent that day or Tuesday. If you're a bit late and we've got some coming through late in the day, then we may hold off till Tuesday, get the rest of those done Tuesday morning and then send them Tuesday. The rest of the week we've really got other work to get done. If you're in Australia, Oz Prado crew, Oz Hilux crew, get in there depending on what vehicle you've got. If you want to be in the engine group, there it is. If you want to choose which one of your 4 engines in your Prado or Hilux you own, get in those hashtag groups. And then once you're a client, you can join the VIP group, okay? And there's another VIP group, and it's for people that have got nice, generous, like to help other people. And if you've made a donation to, basically we've got Bill who's got a crack piston, and everybody just chips in and helps out. 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 50 bucks, 60 bucks, definitely under 100, try and keep it close to 50. And then bang, free engines for people that have done the right thing, replacing their injectors. If you've made your contribution, then you can join another group called 4x4 Diesel Gold Class. You cannot join it until you've made that contribution, so you need to be in the VIP group first. So if you're in the VIP group already, you can make a contribution. To do that, check the post in the VIP group or send me a text if you have to, but Monday, not on the weekend, not after hours. I only work school hours. There are all these guys, there's some other pages and groups, but if you get on and friend me on Facebook, you'll probably be able to follow, have a look at what groups we're on and manage and that sort of thing, and they could be what you're interested in. There you go, a long one, but guess what? Full of information. As I keep saying, please press the like button so we can give you the right information, so we can see what works. Hope that helps. It was mainly to myth bust diesels, but if you hung around for the bonus information, thank you, and I appreciate your support. The channel is growing at the moment quite rapidly, and the rate it's growing is increasing every day. So must be doing something right. Subscribe, turn the bell on so you don't miss out. I'm out of here. Thanks guys. See ya.